Okay. Now, how do you prepare data sets? Depending on the type of research you are doing. If you are carrying out um, a survey research that warrants you to use maybe probably questionnaire, and then you decide to automate that instrument, you can use a Kobo toolbox, you can use ODK, you can use Google Form, okay, to collect the data from your respondents. And if you are performing probably an experimental data, you can as well maybe write it on paper or you enter it on your Excel sheet as you are observing the results. Okay, you are taking down notes, the observations. Okay, so it is very important because it is the data that you collect that you're going to use for your analysis of data collections. Now, haven't collected your data and then you export it to Excel, probably you use Google Form. I will show us a data set that we are going to type in on your system that we're going to use for tonight class. The next thing to do is data wrangling. Now, under data wrangling, there's what we call data pre-processing and data cleaning. Usually, if you are performing analysis, statistical analysis, it is important that you know that you have to be dealing with numbers, not string or letter. Because if you have just letters and you want to run analysis, the highest thing you can do there is just to count, just like we will use count if on Excel. How many are male, how many are female, there's a 20 again, calculate percentage. Okay, but when you are now going further to get uh maybe inferential statistics, is this significant, or I want to predict the risk factor, okay, of the independent variable against the dependent variable. Okay, so with that you won't be able to do that. You will need to pre-process your data to numeric so that you can perform statistical analysis. Okay, then we have the data cleaning where you check for empty cells. I made mention of that yesterday, so you can also do that. So we'll look at that tonight, and then thereafter, uploading of your data set on your AI tool. So I'm using ChatGPT for tonight's class. Then my assignment, I may ask you to use DeepSeek. Okay, so it is expected that by now everyone have registered on this platform. Your DeepSeek, as I did mention yesterday, your ChatGPT, and your Julius AI. Please try to register, sign up with those platforms. All right, so we'll be moving ahead now. My screen. Yesterday in the class, we said that before you proceed on your analysis, you must have a goal of what you want to do. So now these are my objectives. In research, you must have your objective and research questions and hypothesis, like hypothetical statements. All right. Now, for the purpose of this my data set, these are my objective to determine the gender rate of the respondent. That is, how many are male, how many are female. To determine the educational qualification of the respondent. To determine those who are HIV positive and negative. Determine the risk factor of HIV among gender. Determine the risk factor of HIV based on educational qualification of respondents. Okay, these are the aims of what I want to achieve. Now, let's look at the data set. Now, this is my data set. Okay, let me increase it so that it can be more visible a little bit. Okay, I believe you can all see my screen. Now, this is a data set that we'll be using tonight. And to do that on your Excel, what we used to do is we use find and replace. That's what we do. We'll do find and replace. Okay, so let's pick column gender here. I've selected my column gender by way of clicking. at the top. Then I will go to my home. I'll go to my home. Once you get to your home, you look for under the editing group. Under the editing group, that's the last group in that ribbon tab. You look for find, you see find and select. Okay, click on the drop down, then you see replace. Click on replace. Click on replace. Please, are we on the same page that we appear? Now, I will go to find what there's a column for that, a row for that. I'll look for, I'll type in mail, and I'll say replace mail with 1. I'll click on replace. It's saying exec cannot find that, so let's still search find all. Okay, then replace. Can you see my screen? You'll notice that we have FE1 and then you have 111. Process now. I'm going to change for mail. I'm going to use mail for 1. I'm going to define mail and replace it with 1. Okay, now if you look at it, you notice that all the male is now changed to 1 and all the female is now changed to 2. The next thing I'm going to do is educational qualification. Okay, now I will advise you, as you are doing this, please don't forget, you can write it down somewhere that okay, this my code, male is 1 and female is 2, because there's what we call coding on data analysis, where you code your string variable with numbers. That's what we are doing like this. Okay, so let's go to educational qualification and and put primary. We are using primary for, let's give primary 2. You see, reason why it's also good for you to know how to use this find and replace is because when you have a larger data set, like 1 million data sets, how will you be going one after the other to be changing them to numbers? So, but with this find and replace, you can do that at a go without wasting time. Okay, so let's go to this and replace primary to with number 2. Okay, we've done that. Then let's change no education, to number 1 to 1 under this column. Okay, we've done that. Then let's call SSC 3. SSC, by giving SS3 3. Okay, then we work on degree in that column. We're giving that 4 degree. Okay, I'm done with that column. Then let's move to the next column, HIV status. We only have 2 there. Is either positive or negative. So let's search for it. Positive, I'm giving positive 2, and I'm giving negative 1. Okay, done that. Then let's pick negative. Let's give negative 1. Right. Now, what I've done here successfully is what called pre-processing. I've pre-changed my string data to numeric value. When checking for cleaning, you look for missing rows, missing value. You check for the consistency of your data. That's what you check. But for this data now, you notice that we don't have any missing value. We don't have any inconsistency in it. So it means we've checked for the consistency and the cleanliness of the data. So the next thing to do is to open our ChatGPT. Okay, so I want you to open your browser and open your ChatGPT. Okay, so this is our AI tool. Now I said something that you can upload your data set. If you look at this, you see your plus sign. Your plus sign is showing you that you can upload files and more here. Look at it, either from your Google Drive or from your Microsoft OneDrive or from your computer. You can upload. Okay, so since I have the data set on my computer, I am going to click on upload from computer. I click on it. So I'm waiting for the dialog box to appear. So the directory has opened and it's asking me, where do I want to pick the data set from? So I'm going to select my document. Selected my document. I'm going to search for it. I saved that data as data set AI stuff, something like that. Let me quickly search for it. A data set for AI class. Yes, open. Okay. Now my data is being deployed into chatgpt now. Objectives and goals for this, but I told you something you guys yesterday that should in case you are confused or you want AI to also help you for suggestions, you can query the AI and say, okay, advise me what type of analysis can I run with these data sets. And I said something that haven't provided you with suggestions, you can further do your research on the suggestion. So let's carry one out and see. I'm going to type here, suggest the type of analysis that can be done using the above data sets. Then I'll click on go. Let's wait for the response. Has responded, and look at what he said. Data set overview, gender encoded numeric values. That is likely one is male, two is female. Is correct, right? Then educational qualification also encoded numerically. Then HIV status, you look at it, you say likely one is positive and two is negative, definitely. So he said the goal sheet outlined the objective of the analysis, such as understanding distribution and relationship. Now, suggested type of analysis, he said frequency of each gender, distribution of educational qualification, HIV status count and percentage. Was that not what the objective I listed earlier on?
Mm.
Count for sorry, risk factor. The same thing is also suggesting, that is cross tabulation between gender and HIV status. We use this for risk factor. We want to know who is at more risk. Is it the male or the female? Then educational qualification and HIV status two. That is another one. Then risk factor analysis. Okay, look at this. Use chi-square test to determine if there is a significant relationship between gender and HIV status. Same for educational qualification and HIV status. That was what I listed. Then visualization. So you can use your bar chart for gender distribution, educational qualification and HIV status. Stack bar chart to show HIV status by gender and educational level. Then we have correlation or association. Explore patterns or association between variables using statistical tests. Then predictive modeling. Like this one, they're saying, okay, we can use extended to by age, region, behavior. You could build a model to predict HIV status. This one is optional. So now you notice that what the AI suggested is in line with our objectives. And that was why in the last class I said that you, the research analyst, you are the expert. You should know what you want to do, not the AI telling you what to do. Rather, you instruct. This is just to validate what you want to do. All right. So now, since we are on the same track, we can go ahead and then we can instruct the AI. He said, would you like me to go ahead and perform this analysis or create visualization from the data set? So I said, okay, go ahead, go ahead, perform this analysis. and create visualization from visualization from the data sets. Okay, let's wait for the results. Let's look at the result. We have our results now. If you look at it, my ChatGPT gave me two responses for me to select from. Okay, if you look at the response 2 here, it's giving me visualization charts for gender distribution, educational distribution, and HIV status. Then thereafter, it gave me another distribution for HIV status and by gender. And then we have a table for it, then the p-value, and then educational qualification and HIV status. It gave me the cross tabulation and the p-value. Okay, now if you look at this, we have our result already. You can copy and then you can move to your Microsoft Word. That is from response 2. For response 1, look at it as well. Now you will see that our educational qualification, what he did was that he now have to give it a was it one means no formal education, which means no education as we said. Then number 2 means primary, number 3 secondary, and then that is SSCE. Then number 4 tertiary. So you notice that it's in line with our instruction, with our coding, our preprocessor that we did earlier on, and then gave us a chart and then summary for the data sets. That is 9 is male, 7 is female. Educational qualification we have 6 for tertiary, that is degree. Then 8 cross tabulations. Okay, now I feel like result 2 is more appropriate for us than result 1. So I'll click on I prefer this response. So look at it. Can you see my result, everyone? Can you
Yes, I
see?
can see your result.
Okay, okay. So with this now, I have my result. If I this with your chart, you can interpret, oh, majority are male, we have few female. Under education, we have a majority are okay, here we're using use postgraduate education, secondary, primary, which we can correct because there's nothing like postgraduate. Okay, we can correct it. So what we are using is no education. Okay, so we can easily edit it and instruct the AI. Say, okay, there's nothing like this. What we mean is no education, not postgraduate. And then the HIV status, he said they are equally distributed, which we advise that you can look for more sample. Then for your gender HIV status, if you look at it, you notice that male male is more negative. Then female is sorry. Then for female, majority of them are positive, just few are negative. Okay, so then okay, look at it here, and then there was a p-value and a chi-square value showing you association. Okay, and the p-value is showing you if it is statistically significant or not. Now all these results you got, you can as well put it on it as the AI to interpret it for you, and it will do. Now if you look at it, it's also said, would you want me to visualize HIV status by educational qualification too? You can go ahead and say, okay, yes, go ahead and do that. If you want to do correlation matrix, go ahead and do that. And then you can ask him to export this result into PDF or Word. So let me query the last query here before we end our class as export findings into Word. So let him export the findings into Word. About the limitation, look at what he said. He said you have reached your data analysis limits. Upload to ChatGPT Plus or try again tomorrow by 7:51 p.m. So because of this result that he has done, he said we have reached our limit for today. Then tomorrow we can continue. So that is one of the limitation of it. But one thing that is key here is we have our results. You can copy this. If you look at it, immediately I right click on this chart, you see save image as or copy image. Let me click on copy image, then and open Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word. Let's paste it there. Let's paste it there. So Mr. Tilewa, you can also copy and paste. Okay, you can copy it and paste on your Microsoft Word, and then it will work. Okay, I'm trying to see adjust my size here. Mr. Progress, are we together?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
So basically we have our results. That is, there's a table. We have these other ones. So by next week, we are going to make a further step on this, how to select individual tests on our analysis.